everybody. Welcome back to another glorious episode of Radio Rocketman. Joining me is the one, the only, Sir George. How are you, George?
Hi, Luigi. I'm a little bit sick today. I may or may not have COVID. I may be dead tomorrow, so let's make this count, Luigi.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
That is a dramatic entrance if I've seen one. So
Nice.
let's dive right into it. I mean, the news hasn't changed that dramatically. Everyone is still freaking out about Israel and Gaza.
About
Yeah,
Israel pummeling Gaza, yes. Yes.
that is a more specific description,
They're
and
freaking out. They're freaking out.
they're freaking out. It's completely
And
irrational,
why?
and
Why are they freaking out? We've got some pictures,
got
Luigi.
video
We've
evidence.
got
The
picture
picture,
evidence.
yeah, sorry,
Picture evidence.
pixel evidence.
Pixel by pixel, people. We've got the evidence. That was
Before,
Gaza before,
before, and
after.
after.
Brutal
My
stuff.
God,
This one. This one is particularly brutal.
before. Oh my Lord.
Just to showcase the degree of indiscriminate distraction of the whole community. But no, yeah, this is, yeah.
Yeah,
This is,
the absence of any precaution, of any sense of collateral damage is
and I
pretty
mean,
crazy.
yeah, and I mean, everybody, I mean, as we've discussed, few things have happened since then. Um, the Commissioner General for the main UN agency in Palestine has told the UN Security Council that the entire population of Gaza has become dehumanized, saying a ceasefire has become a matter of life and death for millions. Yeah, we had 4 previous draft UN Security Council's resolutions of the crisis, all of them vetoed either by Russia or the US. Efforts are now being made by the 10 elected members of the Security Council, including Brazil, to frame a resolution that the 5 permanent members would feel forced to adopt. I don't see that happening. Lazzarini accused Israel of collective punishment of the people of Gaza and of forcing their displacement.
I mean, at this point, I don't think anyone can deny it. It's
Yeah,
pretty. There's no sense of restraint. I was actually watching some videos of like old videos of Netanyahu, sort of giving the playbook, and it's like if anything ever happens, you bomb them, and you bomb them so much that they get the message that they shouldn't do that again. And you're like, that's exactly what he's doing, and but I mean, the lack of, I mean, a lot of nations have sort of voiced concern, but very few have gone as far as say that this is a humanitarian fucking disaster that possibly constitutes a war crime.
a lot of the leftists in South America went that far, Luigi. A lot of them have recalled ambassadors from Israel.
Yeah, I was seeing today Bolivia
Lula,
or
of course, Lula has been ahead. Luis Inacio Lula.
and
Yeah. The
speaking
Bolivian as well. Yeah, yeah.
speaking of recalling ambassadors, we've got the same thing happened with Turkey, but like Israel recalled its ambassadors
Because of
after
the great Sultan, Luigi. The
after the
great
one,
Sultan has
the
spoken.
only El Sultan of the Byzantine Empire.
El Supremo Sultano. Look at him. What a leader.
What? Wow! Like that's like how many IQ points is that? Is
Over
it like
9,000, Luigi.
how many Ben Shapiros is that?
A billion Ben Shapiros. A billion Ben Shapiros. He's gone. We had the West, Luigi, and I had this before. What was it? Sorry. We had the West abstaining or even voting against the resolution to stop the ceasefire, to have a
And
ceasefire.
we are
And then
still
and
calling
then, and
it.
then yeah, then we have exactly he went the other way. That's what I wanted to say. He went completely the other direction. And he's basically, as far as I gathered, he wants to join Hamas, isn't that right?
Go into the article a little bit, like they've got what he said specifically.
Yeah.
Erdogan accused, go up. Erdogan
Oh,
accused Israel of behaving like a war criminal and trying to eradicate Palestinians. the middle paragraph right there. So that's Erdogan. And Erdogan is, I think, in his head, he's trying to sort of project strength to the Muslim world and sort of
He's the
stand behind
protector of Islam,
the
Luigi.
protector of Islam.
But didn't he
First
say?
of his name.
Didn't he say, Luigi, that? Yeah, but didn't he say that Hamas aren't terrorists? I thought he said that.
Yeah, I think he did.
Nice.
I think he did. And as I said, I think his play is the more I voice opposition to this, the stronger I seem to my fellow Arabs.
Yeah,
And
he's playing them. He's really good at it. But I mean, he's destroying his relation with Israel in the process. But on the
for
other
sure,
hand, Luigi,
what relation? Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But on the other hand, he did pass, I think, through Parliament the resolution to get Sweden in NATO.
Oh, thank you, Lord Erdogan, for allowing the Scandinavians to
But they
come
are
in.
terrorists, Luigi. Everybody knows the Swedes are terrorists, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He must protect. He must
what
protect, Luigi. A
yes.
billion Ben Shapiros. I mean, imagine him in a room with Ben Shapiro. Wow, that'd be one for the ages,
That
right?
would be something that I would pay to watch.
I imagine that Erdi would punch him, right?
Yeah, like he would need a few seconds. Like
You are a
after
short and weak man. Ottoman slang.
Ottomans. Is that Erdi's final move?
Yeah, obviously, but he behaved a little bit irresponsibly here, and relations with Israel have soured. Should we? What else have we got? We had a vote at the UN resolution on Gaza truce. Only 12 countries joined Washington, and of course Israel, as Jordan's motion was passed at the General Assembly. I mean, look at this. At the General Assembly, 120 countries voted in favor of the resolution. Then just 14 voted against, and then 45. And I mean, most of the EU abstained.
Yeah, most of the EU abstained because
the
that's
glorious
the weakest.
EU.
That's the weakest
Glorious
thing you can do.
I mean,
Excuse me. That is the diplomatic route out of this conundrum.
Yeah. I mean, at least the Americans are supposed to be like, yeah, fuck it, no, we're not gonna stop the pummeling. Yeah, our fuckers are like, I mean,
no
maybe
humanitarian
yes, maybe
pause.
No. Well, yeah, we don't want a ceasefire. We want a humanitarian pause. That's what
I mean, it sounds so bad. Humanitarian pause literally gives you, like, when you say it out loud, it gives you the sense that it's going to stop for a little bit. Like, here's some water for you to drink, and then we'll go back to the pummeling.
Yeah, you were right when you were discussing it. Apparently, it's a huge point of contention. Is it a ceasefire or a humanitarian pause? Because a ceasefire implies that it's
permanent. It's indefinite.
Permanent, yeah.
Not permanent, but yeah.
No. Israel will invade. We're just gonna bring you some food in the meantime.
The language. They're softening the language, George.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that 6 of the votes that voted against the ceasefire was Fiji, Tonga, the Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, and Papua New Guinea. That's a bit weird. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they're the ones that are going under sea level, isn't it? I mean, next time they want to vote.
Yeah, but honestly, those are pretty, like, Fiji. I don't know. What's the population of that? The Marshall Islands. That sounds like some British fuckery with a relatively small population.
Everything else we've got in here. France backed the resolution. 8 EU countries led by France. What do you think about that, Luigi? Vive la France!
I think that Macron has a better sense for global politics than
he's the
most
best,
of his,
isn't he? So sexy,
his
so
peers.
smart. He just fucks up domestically.
He's a dynamic leader.
He's
the Napoleon the Napoleon we didn't know we wanted, but the
Yeah,
one we got anyway.
yeah. Among the big powers abstaining were Australia, India, and the UK. Not even the UK went along with the US. Now that is a pathetic showing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the special, what is it? The special
Yeah.
relationship.
What is it worth these days, isn't it?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is it worth these days? Everything's falling apart. This is a
So,
pathetic display.
but honestly, the world is going to hell
Yeah.
politically and economically, unfortunately, and it's like it's fun to observe, but at the same time, it gives you the chills somehow.
And I
So,
mean,
am I
and
really
yeah.
living through this? Is this just hyper medialization somehow of are we absorbing too much news? Would you have been
Well, it's not
used
good to absorb too much news because it's always dreadful, especially these days. Maybe it's Elon's final act. Oh, Elon.
I'm reading, by the way, that Twitter like recently got valued for an employee stock compensation sort of scheme, and it was valued at like about 1/3 of what Musk paid for it. When
Wow.
was it? 2 years ago.
Wow. An incredible performance once again by Senor Elon.
Yeah, so Senor Elon
But
managed to turn the business around and make it
yeah,
worth 60% less
with his but he did it for humanity, Luigi. He did it for
for the
humanity.
stars, for
For, for
spreading his
yeah.
seed further away into the stars.
Into the stars. It is some people are born staring into the universe.
Yeah, and sometimes the universe stares back.
It shits in your face. And thus Elon was born. But I just wanted to say, just to finish up on this, that if anybody wants, I mean, a good idea about which side of the conflict sort of seems like the right side. I mean, I mean, you can have a look at this, and it gives you a pretty good idea which side you should be siding with in terms of what.
There's no right or wrong. It's like you can't start to play the blame game. This is just basically a crime against humanity at this point, and that's why the result is so overwhelming. And it's
Yeah.
obvious. Like the 45 at the bottom are playing politics. The 14 are
No. The
definitely playing
45,
politics.
yeah. But excellently put. I mean, the 45 at the bottom are a special case. Should we move to the 45? Not all of them, but most of them.
Most of the oh, such solidarity. When I see these pictures of yes, we will literally hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
We went to Jerusalem. We held his hands and we prayed, Luigi. And we prayed.
Kumbaya, my lord.
So what have we got here? Political unity. It's just shitting on them because apparently they held on for Russia, which they did. I mean, it was an unexpected show of solidarity with what happened with the invasion of Ukraine, right? I mean, considering Orban was there, you would expect that there might be more fractures in there. But and she's arguing, the writer of this editorial,
Yeah,
and that this time with Israel they fucked up, which they did. They usually fuck up, isn't it? I mean, they did pretty well with the pandemic. That should be given to them.
I mean, even in the pandemic, you could argue. I mean, it wasn't great. It was just.
Ruthless.
Dude, I mean, seriously, here's the problem, right? They had the shittiest response in the world, like last decade with the sort of the Euro crisis. And when we got to this crisis, they just did what you're supposed to do, or almost like not the minimum, but like a normal kind of response. And everyone is like, oh, thank God the EU is so smart. And you're like, yeah, but yeah, color me, not impressed. Most of the stuff they did was pretty long term, like the EU does. And So what I'm trying to say is the European economy right now isn't doing that well. If
It's
you
doing,
believe,
yeah, it's doing far worse than the American one, right?
yeah, comparatively, if you
Praise Jack. I've got it.
Germany's business model is essentially broken at this point, right? Because for a very long time, Germany used to take its like cheap energy from Russia and sort of design cars most of the time, and then use most of Eastern Europe to manufacture those cars. So having a sort of supply chain running through Eastern Europe, that was the German business model. We make
Yeah.
cars and other whatever else they do. But that goes out of the window the moment your cheap energy uh, disappears. And yeah, another thing the Germans have fallen behind on, unfortunately, is the electric vehicle
Yeah.
sort
I
of race.
mean, for God's sake, I mean, even I have to give it to fucking Elon. I mean, Jesus Christ, why are the Germans so behind? I mean, at this point, Luigi, they're coming out with their electric vehicles.
Honestly, it reminds me of some sort of phone companies that used to do pretty decent
Yeah,
phones, and then yeah,
Nokia.
Nokia, Motorola, that kind of stuff, and then the
Oh,
smartphone
Motorola was
appears,
legendary, Luigi.
and
Legendary.
then the smartphone appears, and those guys go like for some reason decided not to invest in that. By the way, lots of people did that mistake, not really investing in any infrastructure for smartphones. One famous example is Intel. Some executives were running Intel during that almost technological revolution. Basically,
Yeah.
decided that phones weren't gonna be such a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
strong management.
Well, Steve Apple wiped Nokia out. He wiped them out.
Yeah, so to tie everything back, the EU right now should be really concerned because the latest data we've gotten, it's basically the economy is stagnant or slightly in contraction. So if that's happening, you probably want to get ahead of it. You don't really want the numbers to be
Yeah.
parenting really negative before you take action. They're not really doing that. So they
Are
can't
they?
even run their own ship, these Europeans. And I say that as a European, of course, we are harder on our own, but they are pretty lukewarm.
I mean, you saw with the response that some European leaders, such as Michel or Josep Borrell, the EU's top diplomat, have been
Mhm.
clear in their message on Israel's legal obligations. Others, including von der Leyen, have been highly ambiguous, causing friction within European institutions and beyond.
Semantically, that's a great sentence. Yeah.
Making marginal politically the amount the difference between approaching a fire with a water hose and a gas canister. When it had looked as if Europe's approach was hitting rock bottom, the EU has continued digging. Heads of government argued over whether to call for a humanitarian pause or a ceasefire, eventually converging on the far weaker former formulation. But the ink was barely dry when the 27 EU countries split threefold at the United Nations General Assembly, with 8 voting in favor, 15 abstaining, and 4 voting against the Jordanian
Excellent.
resolution calling for a truce and the respect for it. They can't even. They went 3 ways. There were 3 fucking options, and they went 3 ways.
Anyway, I don't even know why.
Democracy, Luigi. It's
I, I
democracy.
I don't even know why we are discussing this. This is a sort of uh, this is a signaling contest because like the General Assembly has zero teeth. Anything that
Yeah,
has teeth has to
it's
pass the
true.
Security Council. That's never happening with the US there. So I mean,
It's true, and I mean, it should be considered that with the US is the one holding this back. So I mean, even though I have argued that, and I do believe that Biden is better than Trump at this, he's still not good enough, obviously.
what's Jack doing these days? I hear he was handing out candy for Halloween.
Yeah, I imagine. Um, I just wanted to know that it was the European community that back in 1980 first recognized the legitimate self-determination rights of the Palestinian people, and the Union that in the late 1990s articulated what a two-state solution could actually mean. It is still the EU that is Israel's biggest trading partner and the Palestinians' biggest aid donor. With more courageous and coherent leadership, Europe could have played a far more constructive role, but they suck.
But they really suck. Like they could have
Yeah.
mediated that, and instead they can't agree on whether they're going to condemn it or or give Israel a carte blanche, as it were, to just continue the massacre. Look, it's not looking that great. I think that, as we said on the last episode, I think that Netanyahu is almost sort of trying to project strength again because
And he
he's
keeps
also
calling it,
a very strong man. But he's
another
trying to
very
project,
strong man.
he's trying
Another,
to
yeah.
project strength through a high body count,
Through strength,
essentially.
through more
Through,
strength,
yeah.
extra strength. Yeah, you have to be strong.
I mean, they are so strong. I
Yeah.
love that this age of a really strong men that we're like living through. It's yeah, yes, indeed. How might I forget the strongest of the strong? So anyway, in more cheerful matters, at least someone is doing something there, as they should be. Japan, as always, my the country that has a special sort of spot
The
in my
samurai.
heart. The
Samurai
samurai do
spend
things.
trillion yen. Samurai
Uh,
need to buy to have healthy economy. Yes, yes, Richard, go on, please.
the samurai are going through an identity crisis. So, okay, the news that George is about to read to us is that the Kishida government announced that they're going to spend, I think what amounts to 144 billion dollars
Not bad.
in a new stimulus package. It's not bad. It's not that much, and it's going to target all of the things that the population has been feeling uneasy about: high energy prices and a lot of other stuff, like to sort of help the consumer through these inflationary times. By the way, inflation in Japan 34%, so like nothing too wow. But after decades of deflation, I mean,
Yeah. I
but
mean, as I say, inflation still outpaces wage gains at this point.
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
But so we've discussed this. I think I've discussed this on the
The
show before, but
Japanese are very tough, Luigi. Support for Kyoto has continued to slide even after he said he'll be announcing tax rebates. Not good
look,
enough.
it's not easy being prime minister in an age of inflation.
Yeah.
But the identity crisis I was referring to in Japan comes from very sort of the government and the central bank are working at cross purposes, right? And
Yes. Yes.
by that I mean the government is sort of trying to spend money and so on, and the central bank supposedly, well, actually, in this case, they're working in the same direction. So I've argued this before that the Japan is trying to engineer an inflation shock almost, trying to engineer a mindset mentality whereby the average Japanese person actually starts to expect higher prices instead of.
So they spend more in the
So they
short
spend
run.
more, thereby allowing the whole inflation cycle to return. It's not like they've been trying to do it for 3 decades to
Sorry, Luigi.
kickstart their economy in a way that produces growth and rising prices,
Yeah.
because it's
But
not
as
good.
you said, they've got the samurais dying. So, I mean, they're losing about 1 million people every year.
Not them. 600,000. It was
Sorry,
about
yeah, I'm rounding up.
0.5% of the population, but that's a lot. We're talking about every year. That amounts to 5% of the population in 10 years.
That is
That's
huge. That is huge. So, I mean, and I'm not saying that they're going to disappear tomorrow, but I'm saying that it's incredibly hard to have a rising inflation or whatever when you're losing that much of the population every year.
incredibly hard, and that's what I was going to commentate on. Kishida, I mean, it's great that he's helping the average person out. Here's something to help you with gas prices and everything, but maybe we should start thinking a little bit more long term, like family formation policies and ways to incentivize that, with or without money, like ideally with, because I imagine the financial cost is a huge one of the biggest reasons that a lot of couples are hesitant to have babies, especially in modern countries. So maybe the samurai should start thinking a little bit more long term with the spending. And if that's not possible, Maybe it's time to think about immigration policy. I mean, don't shoot the messenger here, but if you do have a population crisis, maybe sometimes the answer is to open up that proverbial border a little
Let
bit.
the
Ask Ron DeSantis about
oh
it.
yeah, let the Indonesians in. Let them teach them the ways of the samurai.
Take them through samurai school.
Have you heard that Ron DeSantis is being accused of wearing high heels
I
underneath?
saw that. And I saw him
That
denying
was
it as
funny,
well.
right? Yeah.
Like, no, it's my traditional boots. I'm 5'11". Ooh, 5'10", whatever the fuck he said. The Ron, I make awkward faces to the camera. DeSantis.
What do you think, Luigi?
I don't know. Is this high heel? No, heel gate. What are we calling this scandal?
Heelgate. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
High heel gate.
I'm gonna say he's wearing heels.
You can't judge a man by his
By his
shoes,
heels.
by his
100%.
heels, but you can judge him by his height,
Oh my
right?
God. Yeah.
That's how Ron's brain probably works. So he's like,
Ottoman
whatever.
slap. Ottoman slap. He's short and weak. Bam. He's done. By the way, he's done. He's
Yeah.
done. He's done. Bye bye, Ron. Any day now, he's
He's
gonna announce that he's gonna stop
drop off.
campaigning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know,
The
Luigi. I'm
great
just guessing.
orange menace
The
has
Florida,
consolidated
yeah,
power.
he sucked them all in. You see, you cannot destroy the undestroyable. How can you kill that which has
That
no
is
life?
exactly,
Yeah,
in the eternal words of South Park.
yeah.
Uh,
So, are we done for today, Luigi?
we are done. The
Let's give it.
samurai grow tired for today.
The samurai weak. The samurai infected. The samurai
The
do his
samurai,
best. The samurai should fuck more. Or,
the samurai awaits his stimulus package.
But still not
But
pleased with Kishida-sama.
yes, Kishida-sama. Samurai want to fuck more, Kishida-sama.
Yeah, no. But have no babies. But have no babies.
But have many babies. That is the point.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Yeah, another excellent episode, George. Thank you to everybody for making it to the end, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week, where we hope our health will be ever more I don't know, will be ever more healthier. I think that's great.
Ottoman slap.